Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's open house for the What Works Business Immersion, the Leader Circle, and kind of CoCommercial as a whole. If you're interested in learning more about any of those things, if you've got questions for me about what you might be able to accomplish in the Immersion or in the Leader Circle, or maybe you just want to know what CoCommercial is all about, you are in the right place. If you feel like you've got an idea for what it's all about, but you just want to know if it's for you, you're in the right place. And basically, if you're a small business owner who's looking for more ways to connect deeply, meaningfully with other small business owners so you can find out what's working for them, what's not working for them, trade notes, get honest, get real about this world of small business that we live in and how we can do it better, you are in the right place. So thank you so much for being here today. I think we're going to have a pretty small group. So please don't be shy. Jump right in. Let us know where you're watching from, what it is that you do. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about you because I'm super curious as to who's here and why you're here. You can use the chat box on, I believe it's on this side of me to do that. Just type on away. If you do have already, if you know you've got a question about the What Works Business Immersion, if you've got a question about the Leader Circle, if you have a question about CoCommercial, you can use the Ask a Question button, which is, it might actually be on this side. You can use that Ask a Question button and type that in there, and I will get to it as soon as I can. But otherwise, we're going to kind of just strap in, and I'm going to share a little bit about me, definitely why I decided to put everything I've got into CoCommercial, and why we decided to develop the What Works Business Immersion, as well as in addition to why it's so different from literally everything else that's out there on the market. Hey, Ayelet, good to see you here. And I see we've got some other people joining us now as well. Thank you. I'm actually trying this lipstick out as I was like, it's a webinar or it's a live video thing. I should put some lipstick on. And also, I'm trying to see if this is the potential wedding lipstick. So we'll see. Let me know what your votes are on red as wedding lipstick. So, all right. I think I've covered everything. As you can see, this is going to be a very informal time. I imagine we're probably going to wrap up in the next 30 to 40 minutes or so. So I'm not going to take up too much time out of your day. If you do need to leave at any given time, if folks do have questions, they'll pop up in the box for me. Or if you've got a question, you've got to leave. Go ahead and use that Ask a Question tab, Ask a Question link below the video area here. And what I'll do is for each question, I can timestamp that. So you don't have to come back and listen to everything that I have to say to find out if your question got answered. You can go straight to your question and find out what I have to say specifically about that thing that you want to know about. So please use that Ask a Question button for anything that you want to know about CoCommercial or the What Works Business Immersion. All right, let me tell you a little bit about me because I think there might be some folks in here who, you don't know who I am. You don't know much about CoCommercial. Maybe you saw it on Medium. Maybe you've been listening to the podcast. Maybe a friend recommended that you check this out. So first off, my name's Tara Gentili, and I have been in the small business game for almost a decade. Almost a decade. My daughter is going to turn 10 in July. And one, that's crazy because I'll be the mom of a tween. But two, that sort of officially marks the date that I decided I could not go back to my job. And I was definitely going to figure out I was going to make money on my own. Now, when I started my journey 10 years ago, I was not doing anything like what I'm doing now, and I could not have imagined doing anything like what I am doing now. When I first got started, I was a craft blogger. My very first website was called handmadeinpa.net, and I covered artists and craftspeople here in the Keystone State. And just kind of had a sort of an interview format. It might be kind of familiar to you if you're a fan of the What Works podcast. But anyhow, that blog kind of evolved into another blog that I purchased from another blogger who was looking to get out of blogging and wanted to give me a leg up into blogging. From there, I started dabbling in web design. From there, I started teaching web design and really realized that my sweet spot and what I was really passionate about was business as a whole. And for me, business ties into so many other things that I'm interested in, like people's worldviews and psychology, and really understanding what people want and why they behave the way they behave. And so I kind of developed my talent for that into something now that I would absolutely call a skill. And so I became a business coach. I worked with people one-on-one for a while. I created business coaching programs, and I worked with people in groups. But a couple of years ago, I started to get really disenchanted with the way the small business training and education space looked. And that's what then led me into the iteration of my business as it is today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. But some other quick personal things about me. Like I said, I am a mom to a 10-year-old girl. I'm a soon-to-be wife, but I've been a partner of 5 years to my partner, Sean. He's amazing. He's the guy with the big red beard in the photos that you see maybe on my Instagram. And Sean and I, are on a mission to visit all of America's 59 national parks, in the next 9 years. I'm a boulderer. I'm a runner. I lift weights. That's been a new thing for me, the physical fitness thing, but it's a huge part of my life now. But most importantly, I'm on a mission to turn today's small business owners into tomorrow's economic powerhouses. As I see it, this next generation of people who are running businesses in this online space, in new ways, in this digital economy, have an incredible opportunity to shape the communities that we live in the future by becoming leaders in those communities. I think we have an opportunity here to build much more inclusive, much more egalitarian, much more compassionate communities as the leaders in those communities, and by doing business in a different way. And so my personal mission is to build a company that supports that change. Now, that company is CoCommercial, but what CoCommercial does is create and build a platform, create and build access for small business owners to meet one another, to talk to each other, to get real, to trade notes, to talk about what's working and what's not working. So that each one of those small business owners can, of course, become better, more profitable, more prosperous small business owners. But most importantly, that we're developing our skills as owners, as entrepreneurs, as founders, as CEOs, or freelancers, or however you particularly identify. I really believe that the things that, by and large, I see small business owners doing today to get better at business are actually harming them in many ways. I think we've become way too reliant on other people's formulas, on other people's best practices, on other people's ideas of what we should be doing and what things should be on our to-do lists. And instead, I want to help equip small business owners with the skills and the tools that they need to figure that stuff out for themselves, to create the right systems for them, to create the right best practices for them, the right operational structures for them, and to really create businesses that work for them, that work for their customers, that work for their teams in much more sustainable ways. And I think the only way we can do that is really by putting ourselves in the driver's seats of our own education and our own skills development as business owners. Way too often, I think we are kind of at the mercy, at the whim of marketers' pitches to us, right? We start asking questions because those marketers want us to ask those questions. We start worrying about, having anxiety about sales funnels or Facebook ads or podcasting or video marketing or whatever it might be, creating online courses, because marketers want us to have anxiety about those things so that then they can sell us a solution to that anxiety. And one, hate that. And two, I don't want you to have to feel like you're at the whim of other people's solutions and other people's questions. So I want to help you ask the right questions for your business, and I want to help you find the right solutions for your business. And so at CoCommercial, we've built a system in which we don't need to market our product based on your anxiety or based on getting you to feel things or want things or need things that you don't really want or need. Because all we ask is an annual fee for access to a group of people who can help you work this stuff out very quickly on your own and actually help you develop the skill of working things out quickly on your own, so you can do it faster and better every single time you need help. And when I talk to my friends, when I talk to other people who have run or are running successful small businesses, that's how they've gotten to where they are. It's how I've gotten to where I am. It wasn't because I bought some $2,000 course or some $5,000 mastermind or some $20,000 mastermind that gave me the exact right set of things to do. It's because I've had access to other small business owners. It's because I've had access to great conversations with people where we talked about this stuff and we figured things out on our own. But I recognize that not everyone has access to those things. Not everyone knows where to find people to have those kinds of conversations. Not everyone has friends that are other small business owners. And it can be difficult, especially today, to start developing those relationships because there's just so much noise out there. We're all so busy. Our schedules are all so tight. And so that's what CoCommercial is all about. It's all about making it easy for you to have those kinds of what are truly transformative conversations and to learn the skill of supporting yourself and receiving real support for your business. And I think those things are just absolutely indispensable when it comes to our journeys as small business owners. And that kind of brings us then to why we took CoCommercial and started to up level it with the What Works business immersion. Because as we invited people into CoCommercial, what we noticed is that so many people didn't even know the first step of having those kinds of conversations, about asking for help, about even knowing what they needed real help on. And, some people do, and that's great. And, a basic CoCommercial membership gives you an absolutely incredible opportunity to do those things. But if you need help kind of teasing out where you want to get support, if you need teasing out sort of the answer to that question of now what? We wanted to be able to provide a framework, a structure in which you could do that in a really supported way and in a way that kind of taught you those skills as we were figuring that stuff out with you. And that's what the What Works business immersion is all about. It's about helping you figure out what you want help on, where you're going to go next, and what kind of conversations and what kind of relationships are going to help you make that possible. So what the What Works business immersion is essentially a framework for doing just that. It's a framework for deep diving, for getting curious, for discovering opportunities to further conversations. So I'm going to stop talking about what all this stuff is now and actually show it to you. So I'm going to give you sort of a look inside what CoCommercial is all about. I'm going to give you a look inside the What Works business immersion, and I'll tell you a little bit more of the specifics from there. Now, like I said, if you have any questions as I go ahead and use that ask a question button link thing underneath the video area, and that'll pop up for me. I'll be able to see your questions there. It's hard for me to follow the chat sometimes, but those questions pop up right in front of me, and I'll get to those as soon as I can. Plus, I'll be able to timestamp your answer too. So if you do need to run, if this all sounds good, but you've got some questions, pop your question in there, and I will get to it when I can, and you can come back to it and just look for that one answer. All right, so I'm going to pull up my screen share here so you can actually see inside of CoCommercial. Now, what CoCommercial looks like on the inside is sort of similar to what you'd expect to see on any social network that you sign up for it. There is an activity feed, there's an opportunity to post, and then there's some additional navigation in terms of who might be online or what kind of resources we might have available at any given time. So as you can see, at the very top, you've got a search bar, which actually works super well. Unlike Facebook, you can search for specific things inside of CoCommercial. So one thing that our members are searching for right now is GDPR. Oh, you guys were probably hoping that I was not going to mention that 4-letter acronym, but it's a great example of what CoCommercial is so great for. Our members have been talking about what they're doing. Different people are doing different things. Different members have different risk levels. And so they're kind of chatting that out, talking about the ups of it, the downs of it, but mostly maintaining a super optimistic, super hopeful perspective on it, because they can kind of come here and talk about it in this safe space. So if you type GDPR, well, and why don't I just go ahead and do that so you can see, to pull up my other window. There we go. If I type GDPR in here, you'll see all of the posts that we've had. And one of the interesting things about CoCommercial is that CoCommercial as a company has a policy of transparent operations. So we're all the time sharing inside of CoCommercial what's actually working for us or how we're approaching certain things. So I'm actually sharing the templates for my re-permissioning emails inside of CoCommercial as I create them. So, because our members aren't actually getting those emails because they don't need to be re-permissioned. So I'm sharing them and saying, hey, go ahead, take this, use it as a template, put your spin on it and see what happens. Other people are talking about, can we still use webinars as opt-ins? One of our lawyer members shared her training here. People talking about, what are the upsides and downsides of purchasing pre-done privacy policy templates. So there's lots of different kinds of conversations here. So I just wanted to show you that. Right underneath there, we've got the members that are online right now at CoCommercial. We have a little over 700 members right now. And at any given week, about half of those members are active. They're signing in, they're cheering things, they're reading posts. Some of them obviously are posting as well or commenting as well. And then throughout the rest of the month, our members kind of come and go. So the amount of time that membership takes up, or the amount of time that it takes to really get something out of CoCommercial, varies depending on what you want to get out of it. Some of our members absolutely love being plugged in on a daily basis. Some of our members love being plugged in on a weekly basis. And some of our members just love having access to the events that we do, or the chats that we have, or the content that we put out, or the experts that we bring in. So there's all sorts of different ways to use it. As we kind of scroll down here, you'll see it's, like I said, it's like an activity feed, like you've got in any social network that you're already a part of. But it gets better than that, of course. So not only is it better because we're all super smart, savvy small business owners who have a positive outlook and who are generous, and there's all sorts of superlatives that I could use to describe our members. But the platform itself gets better. So we have a way of actually, which you don't have, of course, at Facebook or at Twitter. We have a great way of managing your content so that if you just want to come in and you want to look at all the conversations on business models and product development, for instance, you can check that out. You can look at that topic and just see, who's talking about business models and product development. If you've got something to celebrate, you can post in here. Maybe you're talking, maybe you're doing some customer surveying right now and you want to check out how other people have done that in the past. You can click on that topic and just look at how people have done customer surveys or customer interviews. So you absolutely can navigate the network and the conversations that we have here by topic as well. Just want to make sure I'm covering everything I want to be covering. Yeah. Okay. So that's sort of the briefest overview that I've got for you of CoCommercial itself. If you've got questions about it, of course, use that Ask a Question tab. I am happy to answer any question you have about CoCommercial in general. But you guys specifically are here, hopefully, for questions about the What Works business immersion. So I want to show you what that looks like. We have a growing section because this is a new feature at Mighty Networks, which is our platform for CoCommercial and for the Immersion. Immersion, growing section of resources. This is going to grow to include all of our past virtual conferences, things like the New Economy and Your Money, the Reluctant Manager Conference, the Time Out kind of planning conference that we did in December. We're doing one in June next month, called The Not So Sexy Side of Business, where we're going to talk about all sorts of legal issues that are not related to the GDPR. And so those are all going to live in here eventually as well. It's just ways that you can easily kind of engage with content and get some questions answered. But the one that's most important to you, of course, is the What Works Business Immersion. And we are in the midst of enrolling for our second cohort right now. You can see some of the people who are either team members or signed up for the immersion so far. Once you get in here, what you see here is a cohort specific or an immersion specific activity feed. So you do have the ability to just talk to the people who you're going to be spending time with on a weekly basis during the course of the immersion. Then we've got our overview here. And so we try and fill this with as much information as you could possibly need. So it's really easy to find out when our next call is, to find out where your journal is, to get more information on what's good to post, what's not so good to post. That's all in here. And then as you scroll down, you'll start to see each of the individual weeks of the immersion. The first two are sort of our onboarding materials. We've got a welcome kit that you get immediately when you sign up for the immersion. That's going to give you everything you need: your journal, your schedule, how to download Zoom, how to get into your breakout rooms. I'll talk more about that in just a bit. You're also going to get more information about what it means to be a CoCommercial member, what our posting guidelines are, what our self-promotion policy is, what our inclusion and harassment policy is, which we've never had to use before. That's all in there. And then finally, you're going to get to the very first week of the immersion. We're going to spend the first week of the What Works Business Immersion talking about systems, the headaches that they can cause, the errors, the problems, the challenges that they can cause, and of course, the good things that can come from systems as well. We're not going to be talking about how to set up your Asana board. We're not going to be talking about how to better use Trello to manage your systems. Instead, we're going to be actually examining all of the systems that exist around us and inside of our businesses already. The things that you don't think of as systems, but absolutely play a part in whether what you're doing works or not. And so often those are the things that contribute to things not working. And so we're going to kind of pick that apart, look for our opportunities, look for things that we can repair. And then from there, you're going to have a much better idea of some of the things that you need support on, some of the things that you need to be talking with other small business owners about. Now, every week in the immersion, I give you a little piece of advanced reading or advanced listening to kind of set us up. Now, this is optional, but I think anyone who was able to do this kind of setup assignment in our previous cohort of the immersion really appreciated thinking through things from a different perspective and not thinking about their own business for once. And that's sort of the idea here, is that through the setup, I can kind of introduce the topic without you immediately needing to apply it to your business. So you can actually think more critically about the topic. You can get more on top of it before then you dig into your own business, which is pretty cool. And actually, in our very first week, we're not even talking, or the setup piece here isn't actually about business in at all. It is about the world of the US's worst maritime disaster in decades. And it's this absolutely riveting piece in Vanity Fair that's all about systems errors and the systems that either work or don't work that end up creating failure or create success. And so it gives us a really different kind of take on this topic of systems, hopefully something that's a little less boring than what you think of when you think of systems, or what I think of when I think of systems. And it just sets up the conversations really nicely. And then for each week, we'll have an exploration session, which is a 90-minute call on Zoom where I kind of set you up with some prompts, some questions for you to think about, give you about 5 minutes to journal on those things on your own to get your own thoughts in order. And then we utilize breakout rooms, and you'll work with a small group of people to talk about what comes up for you. You might start off by sharing some of your responses to those prompts, but I think you'll see very quickly those conversations go into really different places, and those conversations are going to go where you need them to go because you're actually going to participate in those conversations. This program is all about active participation, not passive learning. And that's one of the things that really sets it apart from pretty much anything else on the market today for small business owners. So you can see that's what we've got going on here. I also deliver a debrief each week, so you can kind of review and share what's working for you or what came up for you. And then we just have side conversations as well. Also, every single week during the immersion and every single week during the full year you're with us in the Leader Circle, you have access to what we call Flash Masterminds. Flash Masterminds are amazing. We get a group of people together from the Leader Circle, and everyone from the Leader Circle is invited. And then we break everybody into groups of 3. Again, we utilize that breakout rooms feature on Zoom. Break everyone into groups of 3. And then over the course of about 45 minutes, each person in the group of 3 gets 15 minutes in the hot seat to talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about and to get feedback or get coaching or get questions or just hear from other people's experience about whatever it is that they have an opportunity for or whatever it is that they're being challenged by. So those Flash Masterminds are an incredible opportunity to dig in even further on whatever might be challenging or just piquing your interest in your business. All right, I got to check my notes to make sure that I'm covering everything again. All right, so last thing that I kind of want to cover as part of the sneak peek is that we also have, we also have co-working chats. And so we have these pretty nifty, with this, nice nifty group chat feature over at CoCommercial. And so among the Leader Circle, we host a weekly just a text chat, an opportunity to, kind of talk about, water cooler stuff, to talk about substantive stuff, to get more real-time feedback, to just connect with people on a different level, maybe in a way that might be more comfortable for you. And so we have those chats as well. I'm trying to think if I've got any other questions or any other things that I want to talk about before I get to the questions I wanted to cover. No, I think I've covered everything. So that's kind of your behind the scenes look inside of CoCommercial. If you do have questions for me, either about CoCommercial, about the Leader Circle, and the What Works Business Immersion, be sure to use that Ask a Question button below the video area. And so some of the, I did want to address kind of some of the common questions that we get asked about, whether it's about CoCommercial in general or definitely specifically with the What Works Business Immersion. First off, who belongs here? I think it is really, obviously it's really important for you to know that the right people are a part of this community. And I'm not going to say that this community is absolutely for everyone or every kind of business owner, but what I will say is that our community is really diverse. And so whether, no matter what kind of business you have, no matter what level of business you're at, there's going to be someone else that's in there with similar experience. So if finding people with similar experience to you or similar interests or challenges to you is important, those people are going to be in there. On the flip side of that, if you are someone who is looking for people with different experience to you, and I highly recommend that, I can assure you that there's going to be plenty of people with different experience in there as well. And what we do is really celebrate everyone's experiences and the value that those experiences bring to the table, whether it's from a consumer standpoint or whether it's from an expertise standpoint or whether it's from an kind of a longevity experience standpoint with their small businesses. We have people who are making $20,000 a year or less with their small businesses. We have people in CoCommercial who are making $1 million or more per year with their small businesses. One thing the vast majority of our members actually have in common is how long they've been in business. Most of our members, 67% in fact, have been in business for 3 years or longer. And 40% of our members have been in business for 6 years or longer. So this is predominantly not a crowd of newbies. If you are a newbie, if you're new to your small business, that's fine. And you're going to find lots of resources and lots of great conversations for you too. But I think by and large, when we have been in business for a longer period of time, it gets harder and harder to find the spaces that we want to hang out in. It gets harder and harder to find conversations that are meant for us. And so we do aim to kind of fit that hole for people who have been in business longer. Our members absolutely come from a variety of industries as well. Lots of our members either identify as coaches or as strategists, but a lot of people also identify in much less common niches. So about 14% of our members identify as artists, photographers, or illustrators. 13% identify as designers. 12% identify in kind of the personal leadership or personal development category. 10% in education, 10% in branding, 10% in management and operations, 9% web development, software and technology, 8% writing and editing, 7% health and wellness. So it really does run the gamut. And I will also say there's lots of folks who come into CoCommercial looking for virtual assistants, and we just so happen to have a few fabulous virtual assistants or people who specialize in admin as members as well. And so it's a great place to get business for them. All right. So that's kind of who belongs. If you do have a question specifically about, is there somebody like me, or is there someone who, I can talk to about this, that, or the other thing, let me know what your situation is. Of course, you can also email us, hello@cocommercial.co. And either our customer support person, Marty, or even more likely, our community advocate, Shannon, will get back to you with some specifics on that. Outcomes. What kind of outcomes can you expect from the What Works Business Immersion? So we've specifically set this up without a learning objective, right? I'm not going to teach you anything in the immersion. Okay. Now bear with me. I'm not going to teach you anything in the immersion, but my goal is through the process of active participation, through, participating in the discussions, through talking things out with other people, what you're going to learn is how you need support, how you need feedback, where your blind spots might be, what is going to be next for you in your business, and whether you work those things out in just those 8 weeks, or whether kind of continuing to participate with us in the Leaders Circle, which is why that's a part of the program. That's our goal for you. And that's, I think, what you can expect as a learning outcome. The way I kind of think about it is it's the difference between giving a business owner a fish or teaching a business owner to fish, right? To be super cliche about it. There's lots of programs out there that will tell you they can give you a fish, essentially. Here's the formula. Here's the best practice. Here's how you do X, Y, or Z. And we all know that most of those programs come up short in one way or another because our businesses are different, right? Those businesses are based on, or those practices are based on a really specific set of experiences and variables, and our variables and experiences are different. So my goal in terms of outcomes is to teach you how to fish, to teach you how to identify what you want to learn, what you need to learn, where your blind spots, where your opportunities, what holes in your plans might there be, and then give you a space where you can figure that stuff out, or where we can point you in the right direction. We all know that 99.9% of what you need to know about running a small business, about excelling with a small business, is absolutely available online for free with the click of a Google search, right? But But the problem is when you don't know what you don't know, when you don't know what your blind spots are, when you don't know where the holes in your plan are, when you don't know what's next for your business. And so what we do is help you figure that stuff out. That stuff that I believe is absolutely the most important stuff, so that then we can also help you find the details, the logistics, the how-to. But the how-to is much easier than the why and the what and the sort of the when even. Okay, so that's how we look at it. That's the outcome that you should be shooting for with the immersion, is really figuring out what you need to know. To me, that is what is most valuable, and that is what is missing from the prospective success stories that we could be living in. Lots of folks also want to know how much time the immersion is going to take up, right? So we do ask that you can commit to making most, like 6 of the 8 90-minute exploration sessions. They happen Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. They're the same time, same place, every single week. This summer, we are taking 2 weeks off for the first week of July and the second week of July. I'm going to be on my honeymoon, and you are probably going to be somewhere else too. So we thought we'd take a little bit of time off. But so there'll be 8 sessions over 10 weeks for this cohort. And they are Wednesdays. The schedule is all right there on the website. So you can see that now. You don't have to have any questions about that. So we do ask that you can commit to that. I would also ask that you can commit to about 15 to 30 minutes after each session, or close after each session, to be able to just sort of debrief, to gather your thoughts, to make notes on anything that came up in conversations for you. That's the minimum time investment that you need for the first 8 weeks or for the first 10 weeks in this case, of the program. Just about 2 hours. But if you want to get the most out of it, you are probably going to want to participate in at least some of the Flash Masterminds. Lots of our members only come to maybe 1 Flash Mastermind a month. So add another hour on there per month. Or maybe you come twice. You don't need to feel like you got to come to every one. Our goal is to have something ready for you to be available when you need us. So again, it's kind of learning on demand, or access to learning on demand. And so that kind of factors into the time piece there. And then in terms of utilizing the rest of CoCommercial, like I said, some of our members are in there on a daily basis, checking in, answering some questions, asking some questions of their own. Maybe that takes them 10 to 30 minutes a day, but lots of our members are checking in once or twice a week, or even once or twice a month, and getting a lot out of that same time investment. All right, let's talk about the financial investment. You've probably seen the What Works Business Immersion plus a whole year inside of CoCommercial, but also inside of the Leaders Circle at CoCommercial is going to be $9.99, or 3 payments of $333. So we don't penalize you for choosing the payment plan. Now, I have decided to extend our early bird discount through today. So whether you're a member now, or whether you're just joining us for the first time, as of or through 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific today, you can get $200 off the program. So you can get in for $799, or 1 payment of $133 and 2 payments of $333. So you get $200 off today, regardless if you choose the payment plan or if you choose the flat fee. So it is not a small investment by any means, but it is also not a huge investment compared to so many other things that are out there that don't give you nearly as much hands-on support, nearly as much access, and don't give you this opportunity to kind of learn a new way of supporting yourself as a small business owner. So the code for that is earlybird518. smush it all together and stick that in the coupon box when you go to checkout. You can use the green button under the video area to join us, but that's what the investment is. If you've got any questions about that or why we've chosen the price that we have, let us know. But like I said, I think when you compare it to the other options out there, it is just an absolutely incredible value. And please know I have been told how crazy I am for charging what we charge for this. All right. That about brings me to the end of what I've got. If you've got questions for me, if you have anything specific that you'd like me to weigh in on, there is that ask a question button under the video area. And I'll get to those questions in just a minute. I'm just going to check back through the chat and make sure that I haven't missed any questions there. I like that Valerie says nobody else I know can tell me they're not going to teach me anything and get away with it. I get what you're saying, though. Yes, Valerie, I know you know what I'm saying. Seriously, my goal with this is to be a facilitator and not a teacher. I love being a teacher and I love weighing in with my opinion. And I think anyone in CoCommercial will tell you that I am an avid user of our own platform. I love weighing in with my opinion, my experience, my expertise on people's challenges and problems and making my voice very known. But when it comes to this program, my goal is to set you up for success. It's not to try to spoon feed you success. And I think that's where so many small business education opportunities kind of go wrong. I don't think you can be spoon-fed success. I don't think you can be spoon-fed the exact right answers to your particular questions, especially if you don't know what those questions are. So our goal, like I said, is to equip you with the skill of actually learning how to get support, learning how to ask for feedback, learning how to spot your blind spots on your own. I don't think that should be something you have to outsource. I think that that's something that through conversation, through collaboration is something that you can develop in yourself. And yes, you're probably going to want to be a part of a small business community for as long as you're a small business owner. But at the same time, I think that there's so much more that we can do on our own. And, through CoCommercial, through the Immersion, we want to help you develop that kind of independence. All right, so it looks like there aren't any specific questions. That's totally fine. Hopefully, through the course of this, I have answered the questions that you had about the Immersion. I would love for you to join us today. I'd love for you to take advantage of that early bird discount. Our enrollment is going to go through next Thursday. So I believe that's the May 31st. It's May 31st. Enrollment will go through May 31st. We're going to get started on June 6th. So you do have some time to enroll if you have more questions. If you want to mull it over, if there's someone you need to talk to, maybe you want to get a friend on board with you, I'm all for that. You've got a little bit of time, but today is when that early bird discount is going to expire. So if saving that $200 is important to you, use that green button under the video area and use that discount code earlybird518. Early bird, all one word, the number is 518 smushed onto the end there. Okay. So thank you guys for coming out for today's open house. Hopefully you got your questions answered. If you didn't, please feel free to email us. It's hello@cocommercial.co. Either Marty or I or Shannon, who is our concierge at the Leader Circle and our community advocate as a whole for CoCommercial, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right, that's hello@cocommercial.co, not .com. We can't get back to you if you email .com, .co. hello@cocommercial.co. Thank you again. I hope to see you in CoCommercial very, very soon. And I hope to get to know you in the Immersion even sooner. All right, guys, thanks and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.